Hey, beautiful people. This is your girl and your host, Kayla Rose. Welcome to another episode of Series is taking you to new levels. So excited to be back in the studio finally after our second K of down. You guys me to exciting day of fresh hopefully the to your week thing and make it a little bit better. Well, I don't know. We've today think
Online on the iOS and Android on your mobile phones. Conversation. Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, yeah, 24 hours. And let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
Relax Radio.
but just in case you're just joining, this is you It's routine, the kind of the and spoke is just to give for up first to have of today. I've titled this live Back to COVID, Government Guidance, the Tears, and Christmas. I did say yesterday in my live that I would get into more detail about the tears and different things today. And obviously, for those of you who are watching and not necessarily, you haven't necessarily seen the title of the show before logging on to it and seeing us in the studio or seeing me in the studio, I'm doing a bit of a wordplay on tears here. So the tears, as the government would have it, is spelled Tiers. And my play of word is the tears, as in Tears. So I am assuming that there have been many tears throughout this year, many tears throughout this COVID-19 period. And before I get into speaking about the government guidance, I just want to send my love and support to anyone out there who may have suffered a bereavement during this time or been directly affected by this situation. So, as I said, just sending out love, support, pray that you're so we're basically going to the source. So we are seeing what our government is saying about this situation. And the title of this publication is called, or this guidance is called, Local Restrictions, Tears, What You Need to Know. And it basically just sets out exactly why the government is introducing tiers and exactly what can and cannot be done underneath each tier. So we're going to go through some of that today in this first segment. So this article was published on the 23rd of November 2020 and it was last updated on the 30th of November 2020. So the usual reminder from the government is hands, face, and space. So that's the washing of the hands, wearing your face cover, and social distancing. So basically, why is the government introducing these tiers? So they say it is to prevent the virus spreading rapidly in all parts of the country, and depending on what part of the country you're in, how many recorded cases there have been, and also to do with population size of that area as well, will determine which tier we will find ourselves in. And as I mentioned yesterday, London is in tier two, so it's in the middle tier. But we did have tiers after the first lockdown. However, they have said that these tiers and these restrictions are a little bit harsher than the ones previously. So that's to, they say, to prevent the spread of this virus. So what is applicable to all of the tiers? All of the tiers must wear a face covering in most indoor public settings unless there's an exemption, unless the person has an exemption, and follow safety rules when meeting others. Should you be the emphasis on continued education. They've recommended that we walk or cycle where possible and to plan ahead and avoid busy times. So potentially rush hour if you can, and routes when traveling, and also to follow the gathering limits at your specific tier. So there's different, as I said, different limits on how many people you're allowed to meet depending on the tier, whether you're allowed to do it at all, and whether it's indoors or outdoors. So all businesses and venues are to remain open, I believe it is, but that's what it says on the website. Although when we get more into it, I do think there's a restriction on tier 3. So we'll see about that as we get more into this. And let's see what they've got here at these bullet points. It says essential and non-essential retail, including indoor and outdoor markets and car boot sales. These are the places which are allowed to remain open. Certain leisure and sporting facilities such as gyms, sports courts, and other facilities, leisure centers, dance studios, swimming pools, outdoor playgrounds, personal care businesses. So for the ladies out there, particularly the ladies out there, maybe even the men out there, those of you who need to go get your hair did, or those of you who need to get, for mainly ladies, right, who need to get your nails done. Even though I'm not discriminating, some men like to have nice manicured looking nails as well. So the fellas out there may need to go get their nails done as well. So these places are supposed to be open, anything to do with personal care, spas and beauty centers, massage parlors, and tanning salons. Other public buildings such as libraries, community centers, and halls, they should not be hosting events for private hire, though, such as birthday parties or most other social activities in tier 3. So that's that restriction in tier 3. Allotments are supposed to be opened now. Essential services such as the NHS, right? Other medical services, the courts and the job center, and also places of worship. So it says communal worship can now resume, subject to relevant social contact rules in each tier. So depending on which tier you're in will depend maybe on the number of people who are allowed to gather at that particular venue, and so forth and so forth. So in tier 1 particularly, this is the least severe tier, and I believe only 3, if I remember correctly from the information I read, only 3 places in the UK are within this category. And basically, so there's the rule of 6, and if I understand correctly, the rule of 6 does apply to all 3 tiers. So with tier 1, you have the rule of 6 indoors and outdoors. This is all businesses and venues can remain open, or the majority of businesses and venues can remain open, except nightclubs. So nightclubs are still not permitted. Hospitality businesses selling food or drink consumption on their premises, if they provide table service only for premises that serve alcohol. I don't know if I'm understanding that one correctly, but it's on the website. It says provide table service only for premises that serve alcohol. So I'm taking that as if the place does table service, they're allowed to sell alcohol, and hospitality venues must be closed between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. So this includes any venues along the motorway, at airports, and places such as that. But they must stop taking orders after 10. So all orders in, last orders are at 10 o'clock. So if you guys are going to any of these venues or are going to be going out to have something to eat and drink, remember that 10 o'clock is the deadline. So venues such as sporting venues and outdoor and indoor events, I believe that they're allowed to operate at a 50% capacity. So yeah, that's going to be a dramatic drop. Yeah, again, all of this is having a massive effect on businesses, particularly small business owners as well. And I don't know how many of you may have heard that there was an incident in Edmonton with Edmonton Green police station to do with a man who was given a fine, who was operating a business which was opposite the police station, and he was said to be in breach of the rules. And then because of that, he supposedly drove his car into Edmonton Green Police Station. I don't know how many of you have had an opportunity to see the video footage of some of the witnesses who were there, but it seemed pretty intense. And there are a lot of inflamed and ignited feelings in the population in regards to these restrictions and how it's affecting their livelihood. So these are pretty dramatic. We have been going through a pretty dramatic time. So let's move on to tier two. So the one that I just dealt with, that is called medium alert. That's tier one. So moving on to tier two, this is called high alert. This is high alert. And in this one, it says you must not socialize with anyone you do not live with or who is not in your support bubble in any indoor setting, whether at home or in a public space. You must not socialize in more than groups of six outside, including in the garden or public space or a public space. And yet again, this is called the rule of six. Let's go over that one again. You must not socialize in a group or more than six people outside, including in a garden or a public space. Okay, so that's that rule of six outside, just to get that clarification there. Businesses and venues, the majority can continue to operate as normal. Yet again, this excludes nightclubs. So how long have the nightclubs been closed for? And to be honest, I haven't been to a nightclub for the longest it seems now. Way in the beginning of the year. I think the last time was February, just before the first lockdown hit. And to be honest, I don't really see myself going back anytime soon, just because of the situation that's going on, right? I don't see myself going back anytime soon. So who knows when that part of socializing and going out may be opened again. Yet again, same things apply to hospitality businesses. Last orders have to be at 10 p.m. and they must be closed by 11. Yet again, they've got this rule for outdoor and indoor events about a 50% capacity as well. Places of worship will remain open, but you must not socialize with people from outside of your household or support bubble while you are indoors there. So even though you're going to your place of worship, wherever that may be, you are not allowed to socialize with people from other households. Weddings and funerals can go ahead with a restriction on the number of attendees. 15 people can attend a wedding ceremony and reception. 30 people can attend funeral receptions, and 15 people can attend linked commemorative. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I saw that word. I didn't know if I was going to get it, but I did, and I'm proud of myself. So, events such as wakes or stone settings. So, those low numbers again, extremely low numbers. And I feel so bad for anyone who has been planning their wedding and it is fallen right in the middle of this COVID period. So, really and truly, it should be about, I guess, the marriage and not necessarily the wedding. But after all of that planning and that effort and wanting all your guests and your special people to be there and not being able to do that, it must be pretty heartbreaking. So, I really do feel you guys' pain. So, moving on, yet again, it's saying about physical activities and exercise classes are only permitted is only permitted if it's possible for people to avoid mixing with people that they do not live with. And you can continue to travel to venues and amenities which are open, but you should aim to reduce how much you do travel. So that is quite a lot. That is quite a lot. and that is the middle tier. So that was high alert, and this is the one which London is in at the moment. Now moving on to the third one, which is very high alert. So this is the most restrictive one yet again. And I'm going to run through this quickly, guys, before we go on a break. Yet again, this one, you're not allowed to socialize indoors or outdoors. And so there, I don't believe there is a rule of six. um, it says you must not socialize in a group of more than six in some outdoor public spaces. You must not. And that includes parks and different things like that. So no socializing. You might as well call that no socializing indoors or outdoors. Um, it says hospitality venues are permitted to do takeaways, click and collect, or drive through or delivery services. So for those of you who do Uber Eats or what Deliveroo, that one just came to me, or those of you who need to swing by McDonald's and grab a Big Mac, they should still be doing their drive-throughs. Um, Accommodation, so hotels, B&Bs, and things like that, guest houses are all to remain closed. And indoor activities and tourist venues will remain closed as well. And this will include casinos, bingo halls, bowling alleys, skating rings, amusement arcades, laser quests. Oh, I used to love laser quests. I want to visit again at some point when it finally opens again, right? But that will be closed. Cinemas, theaters, concert halls, and snooker halls, and it says most indoor attractions at mostly outdoor entertainment venues must also be closed. So indoor shops, public toilets, zoos, safari parks, wildlife reserves, aquariums, model villages, museums, galleries, sculpture, botanical gardens, theme parks, all of this is to remain closed. And it says leisure and sporting facilities can remain open, but group exercise classes should not go ahead. So ladies, no spinning, no stretching classes, no legs, bums and tums. And I'm not sure which is the ones that guys like to do the most, right? So, but whatever class it is, they're not taking place if you're in tier three. They're moving on to the others. Outdoor events are not to take place as well. Places of worship can remain open, but yet again, they're not allowed to socialize with anyone outside of their household or their support bubble. They're allowing weddings and funerals to go ahead underneath underneath this tier. However, it says wedding receptions are not allowed. Wedding receptions are not allowed underneath this tier. The ceremony is allowed, but the actual reception part will not be allowed to go ahead. Indoor sporting activities, and I think I've touched on that one. Exercise classes, they are not allowed to go ahead. And what else do we have here? Is has a recommendation to avoid traveling outside of your area. So that's where we are at the moment, guys. I am going to quickly go on a break because this one has been a bit of a longer segment than usual, and hopefully you guys have been able to hear me. Fingers crossed. But I will be back in about two.
Relax Radio. Whoa, relax radio. আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020 7474 9292 আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, yeah, 24 hours. And let the happiness
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com, RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay. Relax Radio.
Oh, okay. Hey guys, so I'm back for the second segment of the show. Sorry, it seems that we're very technical in the studio. So yeah, I just heard a voice coming through, and it was the CEO. And so can you guys hear now? This is the old style music that we have. So yes, so we're back to the old style music. In fact, maybe you guys put a comment and tell us which one do you prefer? Is it the old style or the new style which you prefer the most? So I was just going here through the government website, and just double checking the previous page that I was on just before I went on break. And then at the bottom of the page, what I saw, it's got a countdown, it's got a deadline. It says Brexit transition 25 days. So we are going to dive into that next week. So it says that there's going to be new rules as from the 1st of January 2021. So that can be very interesting. So as I said, we're going to dive into all the details of Brexit next week. And in fact, that's something that hasn't really been spoken about that much in recent times, right? COVID-19, coronavirus has dominated the mainstream media, and Brexit has kind of just fallen off there. So, yeah, as I said, we're going to dive into that next week, and we're really going to see what all of these changes are about. So we just spoke about the tiers. Now we are going to continue on the government website, and we are going to speak about making a Christmas bubble with friends and family. So I know everyone's concerned about Christmas, or a lot of people are concerned about Christmas and whether they're going to be able to see their loved ones, how it's going to be this year. I think what we can all agree on that is definitely not going to be the same. So it's definitely not going to be the same kind of Christmas that most people are usually used to. However, it is going to be some form of Christmas. It seems that our parents are going to let us out of being grounded for a short time, and that time is going to be from the 23rd of December to the 27th of December. So on the government website, they're acknowledging the importance of people coming together, family coming together, but emphasizing protecting our loved ones and the vulnerable during this time. So it says between these dates, you can form an exclusive Christmas bubble composed of people from no more than 3 households. Very wisely who whose bubble you want to be in, because you want it to be a good Christmas bubble, right? You don't want it to be a bad Christmas bubble where you're just like, why? Like, I knew that this one was going to have an argument in it, so maybe avoid that if you can. It says you can continue to meet people who are not in your Christmas bubble outside of your home. And if you form a Christmas bubble, you should not meet socially with friends and family that do not live with you in your home or garden unless they are a part of your Christmas bubble. So that's the main emphasis that they have. They say that a fixed bubble is a sensible and proportionate way to balance the desire to spend time with others over the Christmas period whilst limiting the risk of spreading the infection, or so they say. So forming a Christmas bubble, I've kind of just touched on that. You can only be in one and you cannot change it. And it's made up to three households. That is the limit. um, if you're in a childcare bubble, you can continue to use a childcare bubble. So I believe that means if you is that is excluded services. Forming a different Christmas bubble to people you live with normally. You accommodation or a living situation, but so you're going to be able to two other households or three households altogether, and you, I guess, would there you are. So also students, this includes students and those who have possibly been away I'm sure very emotional. That home else has the government sites. um is that if the end of, I don't know how you guys feel about that, is of festive celebration in lockdown, Facebook videos, YouTube and Twitter, so video platforms as well. And if you don't have, stay in touch. Continuing on here with the about on the government website, check out the full details for yourself in space, and you're going to be enjoying the festive bubble outdoors. It's just that we are allowed to do that, but you can continue to meet as long as you remain household restrictions, and outdoor venues includes a number of different places. What else? I don't know, is it seeming a little bit complicated to you guys? Increasingly. And another thing to think about, and even places have been allowed, colleges, universities, certain places for college or places of work. If it is so hard, fast down, or just be open and continue. You guys agree with this and the government, the way they're reacting the last couple of weeks? The NHS includes a number of people who from this. Basically, it's being recommended that contact be limited with a risk of infection. So, yeah, or anything like that to limit their risk of infection. Um, you might need to. So, but it's just saying be careful about busy. So, as congested